Welcome to this week's Tuesday teaching tip. I'm Christine DeFilippis. I love bringing you new strategies to help you improve as a group fitness instructor. Last week, I talked about using notes. So if you haven't watched that video, feel free to go back and watch that. This week, I'm talking about remembering your choreography. So that way you don't need to use notes. So, how do you remember choreography, remember your routines when you're teaching fitness classes? We often think about the muscles in our body when we're teaching fitness classes, maybe even our heart because we're teaching cardiovascular workouts, but it's our brain that we are using the most as a group fitness instructor. Now, rest assured, if you are struggling in this area with remembering all the steps and sequences and connections and coaching cues and everything that goes into teaching fitness classes, this is something that can get better with practice and a couple strategies along the way. Memory is not something that you're just born with or you inherit. It is a skill that can be acquired and it can be improved upon. So, we're going to talk about some simple things that you can do to help improve your memory. Now, the obvious things like sleep, like nutrition, practicing your routines are all going to contribute to having a better memory. And the more we practice this, the more you're teaching fitness classes, the easier it does become. So if you're a new fitness instructor, stick with it. I promise you it does get better. But here are a couple more strategies to help you along the way to make it a little bit easier. So whether you are creating your own routines or you're memorizing something that's pre-choreographed or pre-formatted, there are some simple things that you can do to help remember your choreography a little bit better. And I like to think of my classes rather than hundreds of little tiny pieces like those yellow pieces that you see. I like to think about blocks and patterns that I can put together so it's much easier to remember a few bigger things than hundreds of little things. So, again, if you're creating your own, can you set yourself up with some blocks and patterns so it's easy to remember? Can you look for those things when you're memorizing someone else's choreography? Can you see patterns? Can you see blocks that will be much easier to remember than hundreds of little things? Then, also, if you're good with music, now I teach a lot of music driven classes. A lot of times I will start with the music first in order for me to remember the routines. It's kind of like word association. I hear the music and I remember the routines. And again, this comes alongside with practice. But if you know music and you just feel music, that'll help you feel what's next. So I know a song so well that not only does it help me remember the choreography for that particular song, but also, if I happen to forget pieces of my routine, I know the song so well that I can keep going and never miss a beat, really, with the music or with the steps in a particular class. Now, if you must use notes, use some keywords, use some key points, jot them on a piece of paper, keep it up in front. Try not to rely on it. This is another strategy that will help you get better over time. As I mentioned last week, a lot of times when we're using notes, we're very distracted and we're looking at our notes rather than connecting with clients. But it also becomes this distraction where you never fully really have to train your memory to remember because you're so reliant on the notes. So, if you are using notes, just jot down a few key points, and that will help you improve your memory over time. So, I hope these tips help you. If you will have any questions or tips of your own, connect with us on social media, learn more about our trainings and our educational resources for fitness professionals.